What's going on? Good evening, good evening. What's happening? This is Introvert Boricua with an impromptu stream. What's going on? I see that we have in the chat my guy Rakim. What's happening? And of course, our elder, Don Jose from Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. What's happening? Appreciate the share. Let's see who who actually gets to see it. Everybody watching, don't forget to like and subscribe. Feel free to comment in the chat. Okay. I'm not planning to be too long when it comes to this subject. It's just that I was kind of looking around, trying to keep my ear open when it comes to the whole thing about the whole immigration. And I know that you, Jose, you have a lot to say about that, and definitely you, Rakim, because this is affecting you too. This is affecting your cities. I'm aware of that. I am aware of that. I even though I live in a border state, but because here this is already like 40 the population of Texas is already like 40% Hispanic, and many of them immigrants, many of them migrants already. So maybe I'm really not seeing it so much because it may be related to people that are already here, were already here already for generations, that are Hispanic, that are Mexican and Central American and so on. So maybe we're not seeing it so much. But then again, I'm in the northern part of the state. I don't live near the border, so maybe I'm not seeing it so much. It's not affecting me like that. What's going on, Titi Juju? Maybe you can help me out. You're here in Texas, so maybe you can help me with your input on this one. Hey, what's happening? What's happening? Yeah, shout out to you too, Hakeem. Shout out to you too. Hope you're not freezing. You're not freezing your ass off up there. Here, here in nice and warm Texas, it's already nice and warm. The temperature is averaging it up in the late 70s, in the high 70s, I should say. I'm pushing 80 degrees already. We just begun the month of March. So it's already feeling good. That means that we are going to be cooking in the summer, unfortunately. But I'm going to be I'm going to try and be ready for it. It just takes more showers, more cold showers per day. That's all there is to it. That's all that you can do about it. I see it is posting. I don't care. I don't care, Jose. I don't care. I don't wanna. I don't wanna know. I don't wanna know how long it's gonna be or how soon it's gonna be for you to be all cold again. Aren't you cold or still? You're supposed to to still be cold. You're already cold. What the hell? You're already worrying about the next the next winter when you haven't gotten out of the one that you are in. Go one at a time. Hey, Blood Moon, what's happening? Yeah, tenemos a Yuyu here. Yeah. I mean, when it comes to the subject, I may not be the best person to speak about it because the whole thing about immigration, uh, yeah, it doesn't really affect me because I'm a citizen, but I'm kind of second class. It doesn't affect me the same way, but so I'm somewhat of a migrant, but I have a citizenship that can be revocable because if you look into it, us Puerto Ricans, yeah, we have a citizenship, but it can be revoked by the State Department, which is not likely to happen for somebody who has been born. actually in the lower 48. So let me keep looking at the chat. Yeah, this has been the warmest winter ever. Good, good, good for you. uh, yeah, Joaquin is telling me it's not cold here. It's Sergio Tacchini tracksuit weather right now. I can imagine what kind of tracksuit are you talking about. I've never heard of that name, Sergio Tacchini or Tacchini. I don't know how it is pronounced, but I can imagine what kind of tracksuit. So are you talking about kind of like an Adidas tracksuit, kind of like old school Run DMC tracksuit? Know what you're talking about? Yeah, migrant and immigrant is different. Yeah, yeah. It involves movement, kind of like moving from one place to the other, and kind of like immigrant is more from the perspective of somebody who's already in the country and see other people come in, but both involve movement of people from one place to the other. Okay, but something that I was kind of looking up. There is all this talk. There is all this talk about how um, the Democrats want to they get in power. They're gonna open up the they're gonna open up the borders to an invasion. The whole invasion, the invasion talk, and there is something to be said about that because talking about this whole invasion thing is inflammatory language. It's kind of like it reminds me of what happened here at El Paso. In El Paso, there was a Walmart in El Paso that got shut up. One of the Trump supporters went in with a rifle and started shooting at anybody that looked quote unquote Mexican to him. And that was because of the whole language about invasion that Trump was talking about. It is inflammatory. It can incite these situations. It can incite an act of violence. And unfortunately, these people don't understand that they are doing the gun grabbers job for them because now in Texas you cannot find ammo. Cannot find ammunition at Walmart. It used to be easy to get ammunition at Walmart. Now you can't. Maybe you can find larger hunting rifle calibers, but kind of like intermediate or pistol calibers, no, not anymore. Not even shotgun shells. You can find shotgun shells at Walmart now. You have to go to Academy Sports for what you need, and it's a bit of a drive for me because after all, I'm in Texas. Everything is far. Everything you have to drive long distances, whatever it is that you're trying to go, whatever it is that you're trying to get, whatever it is that you need. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Yeah, it's like Adidas. It's an old tennis brand from the 80s. Oh, okay, okay. No, that's what I do. That's what I do. Whatever I can't get at Academy, then I have to order it online, which is what's happening with the AK rounds because I do have an AK rifle, and that's intermediate. It's intermediate caliber, which are more difficult to find because the restrictions. I mean, it's like with the AR-15 that uses an intermediate caliber, and because it's one of the more popular ones, then they put more restrictions on them. Unfortunately, I know that if I were at a Walmart, let's say in Florida, it will be easier to find ammo because they don't have that restriction. Because I've seen it before. Yeah, yeah, Titi. Oh, okay, okay. It's 10 minutes. It's a little further from me. For me, I have to take tollway heading north for a few minutes. It's like another town altogether because I don't have it so close to me. Okay. Anytime the media fear monger and tell white tea people They are being invaded. They become afraid and buy up all the weapons and ammunition. I remember very well. I remember very well, Rakim, when Obama first got elected. I remember I was in Mississippi. People were fairly cool, even if people didn't like him when he first got elected. People were, for the most part, quiet about it. Of course, you could tune in into certain radio stations in Mississippi where they were talking about they were talking about worst case scenarios when it came to racial issues and things like that. They were talking all the worst case scenarios. For the most part, people just went on, moved on with their lives. Um, but there was that worst case scenario thing. At that time, I wasn't so much into firearms, but it was later than I found that when Obama got elected, a lot of people, particularly in the South, ran to the stores and to panic buy. They started to panic buy. I mean, if you remember what happened when COVID hit, that a lot of people, even in California, they were panic buying at the guns at the gun shop. They were trying to buy up everything, all the guns, all the weapons and ammunition, and they were panic buying along with the toilet paper. You remember that? It wasn't that long ago. That's the same thing that was happening when Obama first got elected. People were panicking, panic buying, and they were buying up everything that they could. I mean, the gun industry owes Barack Obama a commission check because it was with using him as the poster boy for gun grabbing. The gun industry made a lot of money. They made a lot of money because they couldn't keep the guns in the shop. Ammunition manufacturing. I mean, they were doing as much as they could to the degree that maybe the quality wasn't so great because they were trying to meet demand. The demand was so high that maybe at some point maybe the quality wasn't so great and there could be some problems kind of like those and things like exploding and not functioning in correct, which is obviously a hazard. I mean, it's something that you could get injured by uh, a piece of a round of ammunition not manufactured properly the right way because they were trying to manufacture so much to meet the demand because of the panic buying. A lot of that was happening. I remember that very well, very well. When I started to catch up on it, when I started to look into what was happening with the weapons and all, yeah. Doesn't Walmart sell weapons online? I've never done it. I've never done it online. I have, but there are places like Academy. Maybe they do, but I haven't tried. Not at Walmart. Mm. Yeah, yeah. Maybe not. Maybe not so much online. Yeah, but a place like Academy Sports, yeah, yeah, you can check online and purchase something, and then you just go and fill out the paperwork, and you pick it up. Introvert Boricua, COVID and the George Floyd riots. Yeah, they were panic buying on that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a thing too. And yeah, Academy you can buy online. Yes. Exactly. 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 Have you been to the range? Have you been to the range? Because that's something that okay, you get it, but you have to use it because it's kind of like a skill that you have to keep kind of doing it so you are comfortable with it. Mhm. They feel anything else, just have illegal possession. I don't get it. Uh, yes, yes. Oh, okay, you got a couple of them yourself. Yeah, but you have to try and take time and go to the range if you can get some training so you can be proficient with it. It's a matter of safety. Yeah, with my coworker that always went to the range, he moved back to Boston. Okay, was was your friend able to take his or her firearm with them? Because I don't know. I know that the Massachusetts have these restrictions. If you purchase a weapon online, you can just keep it illegal. Uh, uh, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. When, well, if you're talking about moving, what do you mean, Blood Moon? What are you talking about? Purchasing a weapon online? If you purchase it online, then uh, you have it sent to an FFL that facilitate the transfer to you. But it has to be through an FFL, which is a federal firearms license holder. That's how you purchase it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's just that I know that Massachusetts have certain restrictions, limitations on ammo capacity. Most likely, I don't know. I haven't looked. Okay, I thought it was sent straight to you. No, no, that's not how that works. The way that that works is that you can purchase it online if you are in a state that allows you to have it. Like in the southern states, you don't have to worry too much about that because you can pretty much purchase anything at your heart's content. But if you are up in the northeast, then it becomes more difficult, more complicated. There are more limitations. There is kind of like a roster list of the of firearms that you are allowed to have because they put restrictions on what you can have, the amount of rounds that a magazine can hold. Usually, in the Northeast and in California, is limited to 10 rounds, and there is a list of the firearms that you are allowed to have. Unfortunately, in the southern states, it's not so much like that. Yeah, 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 but you can purchase something online definitely if you can have it. Uh, the the websites will tell you if the state that you are in, um, if they can send it to an FFL in your state or not. They'll tell you that. Okay. Hey, what's going on, RB? What's happening? Hey, yeah, what's up? What's up? All right. Yeah, yeah, but I remember that. I remember that the whole thing about panic buying. It reminds me. It reminds me back home, back in the island, back in Puerto Rico, because just about every time when there is a major storm coming, of course, if we know that a hurricane is about to arrive in the Caribbean, people run to the stops and buy up everything they got, um any supplies, any canned goods, and of course the beer and the liquor also. Yeah, yeah, they panic buy that because they figure, well, if there is a storm that hits, we're gonna be without power. We're just gonna drink. We're just drink through the storm. That's something that here in Puerto Rico we do that a lot. I mean, we just buy up all the beer, buy up all the or the liquor, and eat out of cans. I mean, we adapt. We adapt. We have been through that a few times. Okay. Yeah, right. You know, one that I think is also really good. Classic Firearms. That one is really good. I think that one is really good. They have a very good selection. If you are looking for like an AR-15, a cheap one too. I mean, that is of fairly good, fairly decent quality. Then you can find it in at Classic Firearms, and of course you can find kind of like the higher end long rifles too. that is gonna cost you a grand, 2 grand. That's if you can spare that. Yeah, yeah, but Gun Broker is okay. Gun Broker is okay. Yeah, I haven't looked at it in a while because I usually look into classic. I look at classic, but there is also Atlantic Firearms. That one is also pretty good. Yeah. So what's going on? What else is happening before I get into the main subject? Anything recently? Any recent tea? This is gonna be a relatively short one. I was actually forgetting about doing this. Okay. Link is in the chat. Are you Rakim, are you doing your thing? Are you on the road? Because I know that sometimes you could be at this time of night doing your thing. See. Okay. Wanna make sure. Pin the message. All right. But yeah, I was kind of like bouncing that in my head. The whole thing about the border. There has been so much talk about the border, definitely in the last few years. The thing is that a lot of people think that it's a relatively new subject. That is such a new subject. It is not. It is not. The whole thing about the border has been happening. It's been happening for quite some time. Um, but it's been more of a thing. It's been something that's been more of a priority in the last few decades. And you can take it back um, to particularly maybe the 80s, but particularly the in the 90s. It really started to become more of a thing. We're gonna get into that in a bit. But first, let me welcome my first guest. What's going on, Jose?
Good evening, Ramon. Thank you for allowing me on your platform. And
Yeah,
it is 292 days until the first day of winter.
don't start. Don't start with that. We've talked about it, Jose. I mean, you haven't gotten out of the winter, and you're already worried about the next winter. You're already talking about the next winter when you're still cold. I mean,
What call?
I'm having to turn on. Uh, it's not like you have the weather that we're having down here. I'm having to turn on the fan.
Are you kidding? I
Yeah,
mean, that, I mean,
no,
look. I mean, come on. Today I had to. I look. I had to put on a trench coat because it was just too warm to put on a winter coat.
okay, a trench coat. Isn't a trench coat supposed to be warm?
No.
A trench coat. Oh, okay. Trench coat is for rain. It was raining.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
actually, it was too warm for a winter coat. In fact, we haven't had a cold, wintry day in New York this year at all.
I'm sure people will disagree. My friend up in New York was telling me that she was freezing. So I don't know if I can believe that.
Well, anyway, but on a serious note, when it comes to the situation with the migrants, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. This country has done a really screw up job when dealing with this humanitarian crisis. Okay? Because really, I mean, this country did not have a serious strategy how to deal with these people. I mean,
Mhm.
first of all, we were talking about dealing with people from Venezuela. Then we're talking about dealing people from the Ukraine, and all these people, what have you. And there's been no strategy. And there's, I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
these people have not been properly vetted. So, I mean, so we really don't know anything about these people. I mean, and I get it. You know, the situation in these countries are bad,
Hmm.
and it's because it's easy for us to say that why don't they improve things in their countries? Well, we don't know what's going on over there.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. The- well, it does seem like they are winging it up in New York. It does seem like that they're winging it, and they're not having a plan. I mean, as you know, New York City is one of the most populated cities in on the planet, in the world. I don't know
Yeah.
if how it compares to, say, Los Angeles. Um, but it's really, I did definitely, I got that impression when I had the chance to go there. And I only, it was mostly me walking around Manhattan, but you can see it. You can see it. All the people, all the different types of people from all over the place, all over the world there, which reminds me of something that my grandma said, because my grandma did live in New York, and yeah, back when she was younger, and she told me it was like that back then. I'm talking about back in the 50s, in the 60s, and it was like that back then. People from everywhere. And when I saw it, it was confirmed, because it is like that still.
Yeah.
So
Well, you see the
there
difference.
was no planning. Yeah, it
Yeah,
does seem like that. Hmm.
yeah. I mean, there was no planning at all. You see, the difference is that when you compare the amount of land in New York as compared to Los Angeles, I mean, Los Angeles is large as far as area, but
Hmm.
when you have like 8 million people in a relatively small area, I mean, it does create like a crowded environment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
That
uh,
is the
but if you really want to have, but if you really want to have a wonderful New York experience, come to New York in the wintertime.
Don't start. Don't start. Okay, okay. I'm gonna I'm gonna bring up my next guest. What's happening? What's happening, Rakim?
My boy Ramon, what's going on with you, man? How you doing tonight?
Uh
Shout out to Jose.
Hey, good
yeah,
evening, Rafi.
appreciate it. Appreciate you coming up. No, no, actually, it's a good thing, because I'm having the perspectives of residents of cities that have been affected by the migrant. I do agree that it's a crisis on the when it comes to the way that it's being handled. So the whole invasion thing, it could have been blown out of proportion. Yes, yes, there is people that are crossing. There's people that are crossing, but the whole thing is that they're not getting to your cities by walking. No, I mean, they're being bussed out there, and it was a petty move, but particularly from the governor of the state that I live in, because it was just a matter. Okay, the customs border patrol, they're actually catching them. I'm seeing the images, I'm seeing the video, and I'm seeing that by the time they cross the river, border patrol are already there telling them, come over here, get in this bus. You're gonna be sent back. I mean, they're not. There was like a certain orderliness in the footage that I have seen, um and it was mostly like little ladies and kids. Of course, criminals could be sneaking in with these with the migrants, with this group of people, definitely. But that whole thing about busing them to other parts of the country only cost taxpayer money. I mean, that only make it more. It was more expensive to do that. So I'm not. Yeah, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing. Well, it was just like petty. Oh, okay.
I left a video in the back
Yes,
that I
yes.
thought, yeah, I thought you might that you will find interesting. that was here. I'll let you play that first, and then I'll get into my perspective
Uh-huh.
on the situation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna. Oh, breaking into an abandoned apartment building. Uh, okay, okay. We're gonna talk about that. Let me see if I can share without too much lag. I know. Struggle streaming a little bit.
We're all been through that. I mean, I had my issues with my service and my equipment. So
Okay, the audio should be fine, but maybe the video could lag a little bit. Let's hope it doesn't.
Just got up in there. They just got up in there. Hell no. Damn, they just got up in there. This don't make no fucking sense.
What up, family? It's your boy SN TV, man, coming back at y'all with another video. Um, the migrant situation in Chicago is crazy. It's cold as hell outside, and you have people leaving their countries and making it to the United States of America, and they have no place to go. Obviously, what's going on in their countries is a lot worse than the circumstances that they have to deal with in America. That's a given. But it's getting out of hand as far as as far as the situation itself. Like they're pretty much letting these people in, and they have either a no place to go, or they're being given a place to go, and the funding is coming out of taxpayers' dollars, and a lot of America is really really upset about it, seeing as though we have a lot of homeless people in this country. You know what I'm saying? And people are feeling like, if these homeless people in this country can deal with it, they can deal with it. Or why is it that the homeless people have nowhere to go that are actually Americans, but these migrants have a place to go and they're not even American? Half of them don't even got a visa. You know what I'm saying? Most of them don't even got a visa. Um, it's a lot of stuff that plague this country, and this is one of them. A lot of people say that our government has failed us, which I believe in a sense, but then you have to look at it. We are actually a capitalist country. They say it's a democracy, but this is a capitalist country. So, hey, this is what you get when you're dealing with capitalists. People that are gonna benefit off the others, people that are gonna suck the blood from the population. Like the higher ups are always gonna be on top, and these situations have the potential to get deadly. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got basically homeless migrants breaking into bendos at this point. They all in the hood and everything. They not caring about nothing right now. It's cold. You know? First law of human nature is what? Self-preservation. What can be done about this? I don't know, but I do know that something needs to be done about it. It's your boy SNTV. I'm out.
Okay. Okay. No, and I will never invalidate what he's saying. Let me go to the. I could never invalidate it. Okay, I already showed that one. Do you agree with that, Rakim?
Some of it definitely. I feel like it's all political. And like he said, with us living in a capitalist country, everything that he said, I've said on plenty of
Hmm.
live streams. We don't live in a democracy. This is a plutocracy, which means the people that control the money is the people that run and control the country. And it is just America is built off of three things, in my personal opinion: cheap
Hmm.
labor, lies, and deception.
Yeah.
I'll never, I never, I'll never, like what I see them having to do. I understand that people are desperate, they destitute, and they
Yeah.
looking, trying to, do something, anywhere. And if you was, remember I told you, Ramon, I had to work that day. We had a polar vortex where
Oh.
um
Uh,
I couldn't even feel my face, man. Like
uh,
like with
Oh, you
no, no,
lucky
no, 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 no,
you.
no, 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 no. He was risking his life out there.
yeah,
Don't be celebrating. Don't be like,
yeah.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, don't do that. Polar
Um
vortex, it can take out somebody. It can take somebody's life.
yeah,
Okay,
and at that time, as you saw, that was in the same time period within that same week that you
Oh,
saw them breaking into that abandoned building because they had to, get up out
shit.
of that cold. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um,
It's heartbreaking. They had little kids and all
yeah, you
no.
saw them.
out
That's
there
why
in that
they was
water.
like, look, we gonna have to do. And then that's the thing. People always expect people to be moral. Oh, this is the law. This is first off, laws are made to be broken. It's been that way since the inception.
Hmm.
And when people get desperate and when people are in survival mode, all of that goes out of the window. Period.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the thing is, with the migrant situations, I feel for them, but at the same time, it's political. They're being used as a political scapegoat, and they're being used as a source of cheap labor, especially after COVID. When we saw what happened with COVID, a lot of these jobs shut down, and a lot of people refused to go back because you had a lot of people that poured into a lot of these different companies only to be let go or realize that they're working a dead end job, and with the way the economy is, it's not really worth it.
Hmm.
So they gotta figure out what they're gonna do, and that's just one point. They want the cheap labor. America is built off of cheap labor. It's been that way since slavery. Once they freed the slaves, um, they created they start bringing in the Chinese to work as cheap
Hmm.
labor. Then after the Chinese was done, then they start bringing in Italians and the Irish. Well, they was pretty much, I think the Irish and Italians were for the Chinese actually, but they was bringing them in to work as cheap labor. Of course, the Irish and Italians got a break because they was able to assimilate and become white in society. Then
Yeah.
they start bringing in migrants from South America, primarily well, not South America, but Mexico. But all of it has one thing in common. They created this perception that America is the land of is the land of milk and honey. You get here, you work hard, and you'll be able to make a living. Some of that is half true. Um, a lot of the
Yeah,
times, the
yeah.
people that get here work hard and they end up with nothing. And in reality, America don't care if you work hard, as long as you're able to benefit and as long as somebody's able to capitalize off of your labor,
Hmm.
then that's what their main objective is.
Yeah, 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 yeah. There are people that do come to this country under false pretenses, and including some of these migrants, some of the illegal. They can call them illegal, so all they want. They want people that want to call them illegal. It makes them feel good. If they feel good about it, then that's fine. I didn't grow up calling people undocumented illegal because I grew up. When I grew up, we have been dealing with the whole thing about Dominicans showing up. Dominican undocumented. We always call them undocumented. We have been doing that. We have been calling them that for decades already. And, not many people know about that, but Dominicans know. Dominicans know. So many of them that try to get to Puerto Rico by boat. It's been happening for the last what 30 years, 40 years. Um,
Yeah, I've seen the videos. I've seen the
yeah,
videos
yeah,
of people
and
from the
and
African
unfortunately, we are. Um, and we don't really talk down on them because we know that they're taking a big risk out there on those waters, because it's not only that one wave can capsize their boat, but there are also sharks that are taking a big risk there. So the ones that do make it to Puerto Rico, okay, if they get caught by Coast Guard, then okay, they may get sent back, but we don't necessarily turn them over to the authorities. We don't really do them like that necessarily. It's just that okay, blend in and work on what you can work. You make a living. We kind of like okay, we will let you do your thing. Just don't cause problems.
Hmm.
Uh, no, blubbering is it's
Well,
easy. It's easy
Blubber was
to
cracking
kind of
me
like
up.
to say no. Okay, fine. There is law, and you can call them that. But if those were your family members, maybe you will think about it before kind of like putting labels. Uh,
And
Well,
Most
so
of the
it's
well,
so-called.
I'm sorry.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Well,
go ahead,
I
Jose.
actually dealt with the migrants, okay, and and I try to understand the situation, and it's not, and look, the fact that they come over here you know, thousands of miles from where they are, I mean, to come to a line where they know absolutely nothing, you know, it could be rough. But the thing that makes it so hard is that we have a huge homeless population before the migrants were here to begin with. So with the arrivals of these people, I mean, it makes the homeless situation even worse. And just trying to, you know, to house them and feed them and what have you. And again, no one really thought about properly vetting to make sure who's who, because there's a lot of decent people out there, but there's also criminals and whatnot, and we really don't know too much about these people.
Yeah, and I get that. You're absolutely right, Jose. And let's just make one thing clear, because it's this big misconception, because you know how ignorant people are. Every person that's coming from south of the border is not of Latin American. It is a lot of is Russians, it's Indians, it's a lot of other people. It's people from African countries. It's not just Latin Americans. Another thing too that I will say is that um, yeah, I definitely understand. We can't, but if you notice, this is the same strategy that is used. Same thing with Dominican Republic and Haiti. The same thing with, like what Ramon was saying about Dominicans going to the island of Puerto Rico. It is the same thing that's used where, for some reason, people don't tend to attack the government. They want to attack the people that's coming over it. And the government is getting
And
these people for cheap labor. That's what they
yeah,
want them over here for. And when I saw the video over there on the border, I think they might have been in either Arizona or Texas, where the people was coming in. They was asking Indians, "Where you going?" "I'm going to California." More Indians, "Where you going?" "I'm going to California." So more than likely, the Indians are going to California to work in tech, at least over there in Silicon Valley, for probably half the money, or at least on the H-1B1 visa. Of course, people that's coming from Venezuela and different places here are coming to work in the labor force, so on.
yeah.
And I don't know what's going on with the Africans and the Russians, but more than likely, the Russians, just like the Ukrainians, I'm pretty sure they got their back. But um also, like, it's like, I definitely do believe too, on a political level, that they're hoping to use the migrants to replace the black vote here in America, especially here in my city, where they don't really want to have to give black people anything. The whole point of when you're talking about politics, especially with the Democratic Party, is benign neglect. That's been our history from the jump. And for people that don't know what benign neglect is never mention black people by themselves. Never promise them anything. Mention them as people of color. Mention them as other minorities. Mention them. Don't ever mention them by themselves where you have to fulfill a promise to them because they don't they that's not part of what they have plans on. So the idea is that even if we lose this election, we bring in these migrants, we give them housing, we give them jobs, we give them job wait vouchers that down the line, maybe not maybe decades from now, especially if they have children, we'll be able to sway those voters into the Democratic Party, which is what they are trying to do. It's because it doesn't it's not no coincidence that a lot of migrants are hitting majority northern cities where it's a large black population. That's not a coincidence, especially here in Chicago, where in 1990 we had what was the population of Black Americans in Chicago in 1990? Like 1.1 million, and now we're down to 752,000. So it's been a large exodus, at least 400,000 people within the last 3 decades. Black Americans has left the city of Chicago and moved either down south or some
Mhm.
other Midwestern cities.
Okay, really quick. I'm highlighting this comment. Blood Moon, you don't know what are you talking about. Talking about the Dominicans in Puerto Rico are mostly Haitians. That's not true, Blood Moon. And in my whole life, I only met like 3 Haitians total in my whole life in Puerto Rico. The number of Haitians in Puerto Rico is actually very low. There is mostly it's mostly Dominicans. Jamaicans are not trying to get to Puerto Rico. I never met one. That doesn't mean that there aren't any, but I don't. Well, maybe I met 1 or 2 Caribbeans total, but that whole notion the um the Dominicans are mostly Haitian. You really think that we can't tell the difference? Because I'm not talking about so much physical appearance. There is a difference in physical appearance of a Haitian to a Dominican, but there is also speech. They don't speak the same way. So don't say that again, Blood Moon. And nobody say anything about refugees. I know what a refugee is. I mean, there was a status providing to Haitians when they were trying to escape the dictatorship. I think it was of Papa Doc's dictatorship, that there were some that were granted refugee status. But aside from that, we weren't saying anything about the people coming to the United States necessarily being refugees. Maybe the Ukrainians may have that status. Maybe the Ukrainians coming here, they may come
Hey,
in a refugee status. Yeah.
and they looking out for the Ukrainians so good. You ain't never heard about the Ukrainians being in no hood or ghetto, especially a black one in the United States. The Ukrainians are well put away in the white areas that they want them in. We haven't heard
Hmm.
anything about the Ukrainians. The news coverage haven't covered that. We haven't heard anything about the Afghans. The news coverage haven't covered that. They've been giving these people uh, plenty of resources, plenty of
Hmm.
resources. And if you pay close attention, remember, just it was just wasn't that long ago. Could have been a year, almost 2 years ago. All of the Haitians that was at the border, they sent them back.
Hmm.
People forget that they sent all of the Haitians back to Haiti, and they did it
Yeah.
swiftly. The ones that didn't stay in Mexico or in parts of other places, they sent them back, but they're letting everyone else come over here.
Yeah, many of them have settled in certain parts of like northern Mexico, but there have been some issues because some of them have organized themselves in gangs, and then um, they start butting heads with the cartels, and that was part of the reason what happened with the Black Americans that went to that part of Mexico, and like a couple of them ended up getting taken out There
Yeah,
was one of the female that was a survivor. That was because they thought that they were Haitians. But that's why they didn't take out all of them. That was a misunderstanding because
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
the cartels have had issues with Haitians in Mexico.
yeah. I've heard about that, and that's another thing as well that what you're saying. Um, yeah, that's a no no. But uh, for the most part, it's political. It's definitely political on why they're um they're being brought here. You know that they don't know, but it's the same song and dance uh, every time. A lot of people fall for the America. I can get the American pie, a slice of the American pie, and because people are desperate in other places, and they fall for it. And then America always put the few people that have made it or made a way for themselves to promote to other people. See, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and that's usually how most people get here because people, word gets around in their countries. Oh, if I go to America, I can get this. If I go to America, I can get that. Different things like that. Nobody's just coming here on a gamble, and everyone just decided to come here on a gamble. It's not like that. But that's pretty much where we're at right now. Um, with what's going on with this whole situation.
Okay, another clarification that I'm gonna do to Bloodman really quick. You say that you know what Haitians look like. Mama, I have been to the border with Haiti. I have a video of it. You don't think I know what Haitians look like? Stop.
Um, Ramon, it may
Uh,
be it may be that maybe she's trolling.
yeah, she's trolling. She's trolling. And what you say about being from the DR doesn't make you Dominican. Well, many of those people that you think that they're Haitian may have a Dominican parent, and they're citizens because of that. Because that's how it works. Yes, there may be kids of Haitian parents that were born in the DR, and because of the Constitution, it says that it has to be at least one of the parents that have to be Dominican. That's the way it is in both lands, in both countries. True, true. The parents were both parents were Haitians. Yeah, they're still Haitian, even though they were born in the DR. But if one of the parents is Dominican, then they do get to become citizens. So they're halfway. Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, in your mind, Bloodbone, why is it that I'm always correcting you on things? To you, you're always saying facts, but we're always correcting you on things. Okay.
But also another point that I wanted to make is that with like the direction that the news and the media coverage is going into how they depict migrants, beware that of course it's going to direct uh, anger and hatred towards the migrants. And a lot of people, especially within the Latin community, are not going to want to be confused with migrants. So a lot of those people are trying to already separate themselves. Like here, I just remember just saw a video of some white racist guy here in Illinois who was talking about the migrants and how people, Mexican Americans, were trying to plead their case to him, talking about some, oh, we're not like the Venezuelanos, we're not like the Venezuelanos, we're Mexican American. Look, they don't care. You speak Spanish, you the same. Don't ever underestimate America's ignorance. You the same.
Look. You're trying to talk to us like she's talking to her kids. Stop it, Bloodbone. Don't troll. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, like I said before, you know, we have done a poor job dealing with these people. First of all, we didn't have a strategy to to properly vet these people. Number one. Number two, we didn't have a strategy talking about how these people are going to be equally distributed among all 50 states. Okay, so it it's basically it's been a fluffed up job from the very beginning. And unfortunately, like I said, a lot of these people are decent people. It's just that whatever reason that's happening in their country is that they have to flee, and then and they
Mhm.
come over here, and okay, yeah, they get a lot of free stuff, but the fact of the matter is, you have to adjust to a new line. You have to adjust to a line when you don't know the language, you don't know the customs and what have you. And unfortunately, there's always some bad apples in every group.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. 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 Well,
But
I mean, uh huh.
I was just gonna say, like, one of the reasons too that it's becoming an issue, especially here, and I could just speak on it's been two migrants that's been deleted here so far, and it's because they've put them in bad situations. One in particular, because they've been sending them to La Vejita, which is a little village here on 26th Street, and that's mostly Mexican. And a lot of people, they don't know what's going on. It's it's a gang culture here, so they do not know what's going on. And unfortunately, one of the migrants that they sent, he was walking around in that area, and he had
Mm.
his hat turned the wrong way,
Oh,
and it was
damn.
in the middle of a gang war, and I guess
Shit.
some other dudes spotted him, uh some other dudes spotted him, and
Yeah.
they deleted him, unfortunately, because they thought he was a fake and he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
going to go out and
and it
report
is,
his
and it
ass.
is unfortunate, and it is unfortunate, but I don't wouldn't make excuses for the ones in New York that are like new showing up and causing problems, like the Venezuelan kid, that shot the tourist, and like okay, okay, this little kid, this is a kid that just got to the country, and they're being little hoods, and yeah, got caught. He's going to be tried as an adult, and okay, he's getting what he's getting.
Yeah, well, and then, like, and here with the situation too, like why you're seeing like the outrage, especially with the black community here, is because during the process of what's going on here in Chicago, of course, the gentrification, they shut down all of these different schools. It's no resources to being pumped into the black communities at all, and I obviously know why. But um, then they started quietly moving the migrants into these areas, whereas Black American areas, into turning the schools that they shut down, not even a year ago, not even 2 years ago, into areas to house the migrants.
Mhm.
Um, Also, and a lot of course, the black residents are complaining, saying there's no jobs here. Um, for us, it's no resources here for us. And of course, uh, the mayor that they voted in, he was actually voted in, of course, by the majority uh, black Americans that put him in there that thought that he was going to be able to bring resources. But I don't know. When it comes to my people, we keep falling for the okey doke over and over again, and obviously he's not. And you see some of these people are put in there just because they look like you don't mean that they for you. They're put in there to go by an agenda, and the people who are funding them to handle their agenda. And right now, they're trying desperately to lose the political influence of Black Americans
Mhm.
in the city, and that's exactly what they're doing and what they're working on. So you know, same thing. It was a migrant here who I guess he got into an argument with a black woman, and he told her, you lazy, no more money for you, no more money for you, you
Okay.
lazy,"
Oh
which goes
well,
in.
they're gonna keep saying that until they get deported.
No,
Because,
well, no, it just
again,
goes into the no. Well, you know what? It's not just it's not him, and I wouldn't. It's not him. it just goes into the narrative that America sells to most of the migrants or people that come here, that
Mm,
Black Americans are lazy. It was even I even saw a video of a woman from the Caribbean. I think she was from Jamaica, when she said when she first got to America, she was told the stories even by her
mhm,
older, like her grandparents and stuff, when they first arrived in America. They was told that Black Americans was lazy, and that's why they were being brought here to work into these different areas. And usually, really, what it is that America imports people to work because they know Black Americans are not going to work for the wages that other people will work for, and that's because that's the whole system that America is built on. You know, lying, deceiving people, spreading out false narratives to keep people divided so they don't um, catch up on the game that they're playing. And some people are happy to do it because they like it's either this or that. And what do I have to lose? The thing is, people want to believe in the system so bad that they let it create this mind of superiority. As you see, we working hard, and those people are just lazy. And we come here, we
mhm.
work, and we build ourselves up. And I don't see why they can do the same. And that is a narrative that America pushed that a lot of people fall for.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. That's not that's not true. You guys have more money than us, so that has already been established. Economically, you're doing better than us. So I mean, what does it matter? I mean, what some immigrant thinks in the end.
No, no, I'm just saying that's the narrative that a lot of
Yeah, yeah,
that they've always
I know, I know.
that they've always pushed
Mhm.
historically. And like even it was this African chick. I remember watching a video of this African chick, and she was saying, she was like, I've gotten here, I've done everything that America asked me for, and I still don't understand why I can't find a job. And I remember it was somebody that said, they was like, Black Americans, we've been trying to tell
Mhm.
y'all, but y'all didn't listen. And so it's just that, you know,
But
these
was she
people.
educated? This African girl, was she
Yeah,
educated?
she was educated. She went to school, I believe. I forgot what was her profession. She majored in something, but
Yeah,
she
yeah.
said
Because usually when it comes to my understanding is that when it comes to African like immigrant kids, I mean their families do push for them to get educated, not too different from Asians. I mean, there
yeah,
is
especially
the
Caribbeans.
conception that Asians, well, they usually are among the more educated, the more successful. But the same thing goes for African
Yeah,
immigrant kids too. Mhm.
yeah, and Caribbeans as well.
Yeah.
So like but yeah, that's like, that's it in a nutshell. Unfortunately, the migrants, which I know that they're just trying to, make ends meet or, survive themselves, unfortunately, they're going to be pushed. That's the narrative that's going to be pushed. And yeah, you're right. You're right. You're definitely right, Blood Moon, which is why you see all of the stuff that's happening right now, and so many people buy into it.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Mhm.
You
But
wanted to
yeah,
comment,
that's
Jose?
Yeah. Well, I think it's still possible to achieve some level of success. The problem is that particularly for the millennials and the Gen Z people, there's a lot more obstacles. First of all, if you decide to go through the university route,
Mhm.
you're going to be accumulating a huge amount of student loan debt. So it
Yeah,
makes it very
you
difficult.
might be you might spend the rest of your days trying to pay it off.
Yeah.
Because the way it's set up when it comes to repayment of student loans, I mean, you're going to be repaying that for a long time, a long time. You can
I
ask
mean,
whoever is dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that, so it,
I mean, when you think about the amount of student loan debt that some of
mhm,
these young people have, it's almost as much as buying an apartment or even a house.
mhm, mhm.
And you know, and one thing that gets lost in the whole thing is that the plan for success for people of my generation doesn't necessarily apply well for the millennial and the Gen Z people. And really, there are many professions where you can earn good money and you don't have to have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. You just have good marketable job skills. It's just that today it's really hard for the younger generation to achieve anything, because
and it's
of
getting harder because the wages are not going up, but the prices of everything else is going up. It is so different from the
Hmm.
'70s and the '80s where people were able to purchase homes. Now that the average, what is the average cost of a home is what 300,000. Like and
Over
certain
here is half a million.
wow,
400,000, half a million, and it's like a single family house, three
if
bedrooms or so. Yeah.
in New York, if you want to buy a house, prepare to spend like maybe 7 or 800,000.
Hmm.
that is crazy. That is almost like a mini mansion. And like,
Yeah.
what would you consider the price of a mini mansion? And the wages are not going up. And on top of it, college is a scam, depending on what you're going for. Because
Hmm.
and that's another thing. America is built off of debt. America is built off of putting people in debt.
Yeah, it's the
Keep
monetary system, how it
Yeah, the
works. It
the
does have to do
monetization
with a lot
system.
of with accumulating debt. That's why the debt ceiling, they just keep raising the debt ceiling, but they don't want to pay off the debt. And it's over 30 trillion already.
But you know what's the crazy part is that every couple of months we hear this crisis where talk about a partial government shutdown or a complete government shutdown. I mean,
Hmm.
I remember my younger days. I mean, they actually prepared. They did a budget that lasted the entire calendar year. Now it's like every time it's like you gotta wait until the last minute to have a short-term budget just to kick the can down the road. And it's like
Hmm.
every 2 months we're in the same situation again and again and again.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, but that's okay. Those are political games, and the thing is that the politicians are comfortable threatening to shut down the government because it wouldn't affect them. It will affect the regular people, the people that have a government job. That's the people that it will affect, and people that threaten, politicians that threaten that, should be held accountable for that. There should be a penalty for that. There should be hearings, trials,
I know, but unfortunately,
even jail is because that is like a somewhat of a bit of an act of treason, trying to shut down the government of the country. Shouldn't that be some kind of treason? That's how I
yeah.
look at it. I mean, they shouldn't be feel comfortable threatening that just because one side of the aisle isn't getting what they want. I mean, it
Hey,
does
hey,
feel
can y'all hear
it
me?
does seem like a treasonous act because it's the
Can y'all
people of the
can
country that get
y'all
affected by it. Mhm.
can y'all hear me? Okay. My mic still sound
Yeah,
low.
you are a little low. You are a little low. I can hear
Okay.
you. I have to turn up the volume a little bit. I can hear you, yes, but you are a little low.
All right. Hold on. Give me
So
one
if
second.
you
Okay.
have it like a
Hey.
volume for your mic that you can turn up so I can hear you.
Well, we all had technical difficulties from time to time. I
Uh,
know I had quite a few last year. So
yeah, maybe you can check in the in your configuration. There should be something about a mic volume that you can turn up.
Yeah, definitely. Um,
uh,
y'all still I still sound real low. Let's see here.
Yeah, this is still. Yeah, that's something that you can only do on your end. If you, there should be kind of like a three dots and that you get to check your mic settings. I can't do that from where I'm at. It has to be done on
Okay,
your end.
what about now?
I think it's okay. It's okay. People can turn up their volume too. It's just that when one of us might talk, we might sound too loud. But yeah, I can hear you.
Well, earlier tonight, I did a stream regarding forgiveness.
Well, yeah, I didn't join that stream because I'm too lowly of a human being to to forgive certain things. I mean, if there is a God, if there is a superior being, if there is a creator, let the creator do the forgiving because I can't. It's like certain instances in my life when I have been betrayed. And okay, I mean, I don't retaliate in any way, but I could never trust them again. I mean, my trust can only be violated one time. One time. If somebody, and it's not so much if somebody makes a mistake, somebody can make a mistake, and I trust them that they make a mistake with my trust, and it was something that was a human error. That's one thing. But when somebody betrays my trust intentionally, and they expect for me to stay like that's fine, no, no. My trust is something that I value a lot, and it can only be betrayed once. Once that trust is violated, it's gone permanently. And if
Well,
that doesn't make me it doesn't sound like a forgiving person, then well, okay. I'm too flawed of a human being to let certain things go by like it's nothing.
well, the way I define forgiveness is that that you let go of the hurt or the betrayal or whatever to the point where you can discuss it and
Hmm.
it won't be bring back painful memories. And the
Hmm.
fact of the matter is forgiveness does not it's not the same as restoration. You can forgive a person and it doesn't have nothing to do with the person again.
Hmm. Well, the best that I can do is just like leave it alone, but the person is damn near like dead to me. Is dead to me. I don't talk to them again. They don't exist to me anymore. And that's how they wanted it. That's how they wanted it.
Well, that's and you know what, and I stated and I stated it, and of course, you know, the fact of the matter is, I mean, we it would help if we had a more clear understanding what is forgiveness actually means, and that's how I define it. When you're at the point when you can discuss about a painful time in your life, and by discussing it, doesn't bring back bad memories
Hmm. Hmm.
because you have to heal from whatever, whether it be a betrayal of trust, whether it hurt you or things of that nature. You have to heal yourself first.
Hmm. Hmm. What's up, Daniel?
Hey,
Yeah,
Daniel.
yeah. Trust should be treated like your own kids. You don't love it. You don't leave it in anyone's hands. True, true, true. Yeah, yeah. That's something that it has to be earned from me first. Somebody has gone all the way to the point that they earn my trust and then they betray it. I mean, it hurts. It hurts. It's like, come on, stabbing them it's being like stabbed in the back. I mean, it has become rather difficult for me to trust. I don't trust most people already. So
Well,
I only trust very few people. Very, very few people.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, look. In fact, I like I said before. We c- some people think if you forgive, it's like you're okay what they did. No, it's just what it is that you're at that point where the betrayal or whatever the crap happened to you, you know, by discussing it doesn't bring back painful memories because you've learned to let it go. It doesn't mean that you're buddy buddy with the person again. It's just that you're letting go of the hurt or you're letting go of the negativity.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. All right. Since I'm not going to be that much longer, I do want to. Maybe I should rename this stream later on because the main point of this stream is to get to address the whole thing about when it comes to deportation. We have the migrant issue. We talked about it already. But when it comes to the deportations, who actually deports more? Who actually does more to deport people out of the country?
My understanding, there've been a lot of people that were deported under the Obama administration.
Hmm. What do you think, Rakim? Do you agree? Rakim, you're muted. Yeah, you're muted, Rakim, if you can hear me. Okay. I'm gonna go on and say that for a while I thought that the main that the president that deported the most was actually Bill Clinton. And I'm gonna get into the numbers because I did pull up a few numbers that were compiled from the Cato Institute. But there is something that I wanted to I wanted to show that some people might be a little bit surprised that they're saying it. Because you will think that the Democrats will be go on and on talking about how much they want to open up the border. They're always opening the borders, and they're letting everybody and anybody and everybody in. And the thing is that they might have the language that sounds like more empathetic, sympathetic, and empathetic towards migrants, people coming in undocumented. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're just opening up everything for them to come in. Um, I'm going to show who I thought was the one that really deported the most. But I was gonna be mistaken saying that. But I remember seeing this. Let me see if I can share. Listen to what he says. This is interesting.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace, recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
And this is how Democrats saying it. This is how the Democrats saying it. I'm not hearing anything about opening up the borders for just anybody and everybody to just come in. Let me play a little something. Let me play a little something from. Hang with me for a moment.
I continue to believe that the best way to solve this problem is by working together to pass that kind of common sense law. But until that happens, there are actions I have the legal authority to take as president, the same kinds of actions taken by Democratic and Republican presidents before me, that will help make our immigration system more fair and more just. Tonight, I'm announcing those actions. First, we'll build on our progress at the border with additional resources for our law enforcement personnel so that they can stem the flow of illegal crossings and speed the return of those who do cross over. Second, I'll make it easier and faster for high-skilled immigrants, graduates, and entrepreneurs to stay and contribute to our economy, as so many business leaders have proposed. Third, we'll take steps to deal responsibly with the millions of undocumented immigrants who already live in our country. I want to say more about this third issue because it generates the most passion and controversy. Even as we are a nation of immigrants, we're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous. That's why over the past 6 years, deportations of criminals are up 80%. And that's why we're going to keep focusing enforcement resources on actual threats to our security. Felons, not families. Criminals, not children. Gang members, not a mom who's working hard to provide for her kids. We'll prioritize, just like law enforcement does every day. But even as we focus on deporting criminals, the fact is millions of immigrants in every state, of every race and nationality, still live here illegally. And let's be honest, tracking down, rounding up, and deporting millions of people isn't realistic. Anyone who suggests otherwise isn't being straight with you. It's also not who we are as Americans. After all, most of these immigrants have been here a long time. They work hard, often in tough, low-paying jobs. They support their families. They worship at our churches. Many of their kids are American-born or spent most of their lives here. And their hopes, dreams, and patriotism are just like ours. As my predecessor, President Bush, once put it, they are a part of American life.
Okay, yes. Obama it was using more compassionate language, but we're going to get to his numbers in a moment.
Excuse me, Ramon. I'm gonna have to depart because it's midnight over here, and
Okay,
I have
yeah.
to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I just want to say thank you for allowing me here and to discuss my point of view, particularly when it comes to the situation with the migrants or the asylum seekers or whatever politically correct term we have for these people. The fact of the matter is, and again, hate me for what I'm going to say, but we didn't have a proper strategy how to deal with this humanitarian crisis. If we had some sort of a proper strategy, it wouldn't, cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and other cities would not be over flooded with these people.
These are the cities that are already highly populated, and so it only exacerbates the issue. And I have seen videos of Oakland, the places like Oakland, and I have like streets lined with rubble, and it's kind of like a shanty town. Anybody who is Jamaican know what I mean with a shanty town. It's kind of like a improvised little shacks along the roads. And that's in Oakland. I saw that video recently. Like, golly, that doesn't. What the hell is happening? Yeah.
And unfortunately, this situation is going to continue for some time as long as politicians treat this not as a humanitarian crisis, but this is a way to, to play gotcha and what have you. and a lot of innocent people suffer because of this. So, with that being said, it's always a pleasure. Just chat with you guys. And again, Ramon, you really need to experience New York when it gets nice and cold in the winter
No,
time.
I mean, no, not when it gets cold. I have to think about my health, Jose.
Oh,
Please
come on
understand that.
now. We haven't had a cold day this winter. That's why I'm thinking about the next winter. So,
Okay,
but
okay,
in any
got
case, have a good night, guys. Be safe.
you too, Jose. Thanks for coming now. But I'll try to make it earlier next time so you can hang out. But I'm gonna finish up
I know
soon enough.
it's just that I had another stream. I had a stream earlier tonight.
No,
So
that's the thing. I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to do your thing, and then I will. That's when I started mine after that. But I know that I started a little late. I just had a little bit of energy. I had a long day, even though I had a long day. But still, I wanted to kind of like touch on this. But I'm gonna be done soon. So if you can at least uh, well, if you can't tune in, you have to go to bed. That's fine. That's good. So you can catch the playback later on.
all
So
right.
thank
So
you for
yeah.
coming
So
up. Appreciate it.
thank you. Good night, guys.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right. I see the Rakim is up, but I don't know. Maybe I can't hear you. You seem to be on, but I can't hear you. All right. Yeah, it was interesting to see the clip with Obama, and you will think that that Republicans other than Trump. Remember, Trump is not a like a real Republican. Remember, he was his whole life he was a New York Democrat all the way until 2015, and you know it. You guys know that. It's just he's posing as a Republican um, to to run because he it's not likely that he will have been able to run as a Democrat, even though he was a New York lifelong Democrat. But he ran as a Republican. We know about the rhetoric. He was all outlandish. But the thing is that we'll get to some of the numbers compared to the rhetoric. What did he do compared to all the rhetoric that he said was somewhat inflammatory? Because okay, you can say, well, there are illegal immigrants, illegal this, illegal that, but point singled out one country and then escalating on the labeling, then yeah, that's gonna get a reaction to a degree, an emotional one, and it did. So let me share. I have to click here. Okay. This ads. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let me share this. Okay. Joaquin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good now. I hear
Oh,
you good.
okay, I had to switch headphones, man. Uh,
Ah, got you.
a little more
Oh
sense.
yeah.
Low.
I don't know if you if you managed to listen to the couple of clips that I just played of the Clinton and Obama when they were talking about the immigration thing. I mean, yeah, the Bill Clinton was something fairly tough on the plan that he had back in 1995, and Obama was using kind of like more compassionate language. But we're gonna see the compassionate language in comparison to the numbers, and you know the rhetoric about Trump. I don't want to hear it again because we know that he started with all the labeling and getting all outrageous with it. Um,
Well, it just
Uh,
goes to show you that
mhm.
the only difference between Trump, Obama, and Clinton is that Obama and Clinton was more polished politicians. That's
Yeah.
it. Trump is not really a politician.
No, no, he's not a
So
real politician.
so he don't know how to actually see when it comes to politicians, they're just like lawyers. They're professional liars.
Mhm.
It's just that simple. They're no different from lawyers. They're professional liars. They train and they get and they get trained by other politicians on how to address the public, how to lie to the public, how to pull on the public's emotions,
Yeah.
for the vote. And they usually do that with the powerless people because the people that got the power, they just pay the politicians off, and they'll pay, I'm gonna donate this amount of money towards your campaign. You know what our agenda is. I mean, these politicians are bought by these corporations, these big time corporations. That's why they'll never be for the people. And America is no different than any other country. Like in other countries, they're blatant with it. The only difference between them and America is America try to wrap it up in a nice little bow and lie to people. Meanwhile, they're
Yeah.
doing all types of dirt, and other countries are just blatant. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna play this little clip that I remember. I don't remember how I came across it, but it goes back to 1980 when Ronald Reagan and George Bush Sr. were having the debates. Let's listen to what they were saying about immigration back then. Uh, Hold on, I muted it. Okay, here we go.
Yes, my name is David Grossberg, and I'd like to know, do you think the children of illegal aliens should be allowed to attend Texas public schools free, or do you think that their parents should pay for their education?
And that's here. That's here in
I think
Texas.
you're first in this.
He was looking right at you. That's right, he was. Look, I'd like to see something done about the illegal alien problem that would be so sensitive and so understanding about labor needs and human needs that problem wouldn't come up. But today, if those people are here, I would reluctantly say I think they would get whatever it is that they're, what the society is giving to their neighbors. But the problem has to be solved. The problem has to be solved because as we have kind of made illegal some kinds of labor that I'd like to see legal, we're doing two things. We're creating a whole society of really honorable, decent, family-loving people that are in violation of the law. And secondly, we're exacerbating relations with Mexico. The answer to your question is much more fundamental than whether they attend Houston schools, it seems to me. I don't want to see if they're living here, I don't want to see a whole thing of 6 and 8 year old kids being made, one totally uneducated and made to feel that they're living with outside the law. Let's address ourselves to the fundamentals. These are good people, strong people. Part of my family is a Mexican.
Can I add to that? I think the time has come that the United States and our neighbors, particularly our neighbor to the south, should have a better understanding and a better relationship than we've ever had. And I think that we haven't been sensitive enough to our size and our power. They have a problem of 40 to 50% unemployment. Now, this cannot continue without the possibility arising with regard to that other country that we talked about, of Cuba and what it is stirring up, of the possibility of trouble below the border, and we could have a very hostile and strange neighbor on our border. Rather than making them or talking about putting up a fence, why don't we work out some recognition of our mutual problems, make it possible for them to come here legally with a work permit, and then while they're working and earning here, they pay taxes here. And when they want to go back, they can go back and they can cross and open the border both ways by understanding their problems. This is the only safety valve right now they have with that unemployment that probably keeps the lid from blowing off down there. And I think we could have a fine relationship, and it would solve the problem you mentioned also.
Yep. Well, whether they meant it or not, that was a little bit unexpected. I didn't know about this. Had never seen the.
Yeah, I
I
saw
never
the
saw
video.
the. Yeah, yeah, that was part of the debates that Bush and Reagan, Bush Senior and Reagan were having in Houston back in 1980. And well, I mean, maybe they meant it. Maybe they didn't mean it.
No, they
But
they they definitely didn't mean it. Like none of them, either one, Reagan or Bush, was very trustworthy. But then
mm,
again, who what politician really is? That's just me. But based off of their history, no. Um, Especially with the war on drugs and Reaganomics and all of that crap that they helped push. So I don't trust that they meant it. And me personally, I think the only difference between a Democrat and a Republican when it comes to immigration and a migrant crisis and different things like that, a Republican believes in outsourcing the jobs outside of the United States
mhm.
to get people to work
No, they
in
did it.
in
They did it
factories. Well,
during the
yeah,
80s.
yeah, they did. And the Democrats believe in bringing the labor force here to get people to work. That's the only difference. Both of them are two feathers on the same bird, if you ask me. And now, I mean, look at the country now. We have no, we have like we don't really have any manufacturers here. We
Mhm,
barely had like have any steel companies left, any steel manufacturing companies left. We don't have an automotive industry here. We don't have anything, and most of America's goods are outsourced to other countries, and exported here into the United States. So
yeah.
this is where we at, and that's the whole point. The whole point is to try to get as much uh, you know, as much money as possible with the least amount of having to put out. And
Yeah, yeah. So, with this, with what I have shown, being shown, so we're gonna see, when it comes to steel, one has to think who deported more, who deports more, who deported more. I have here. I know that I was looking at it earlier. Should be able to show this. Okay, I have here a list of the presidents, and when it comes to the deportations, this is from the Cato Institute, and they do have a list about the removals. They're calling it removals here, but it's deportations basically. That's what it is. Starting from Benjamin Harrison, it's always a few thousand. He was always a few thousand. And there was a spike on the number of deportations back with Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson, well, he was a traitor. He was a traitor. He was the one who passed the legislation by executive decision that allowed the creation of the IRS. He did that. That was that was treason because he did that um when Congress was in holiday recess. That was via executive decision. It wasn't
you said when Congress was what, Ramon?
on holiday recess. It was during Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Either recess or vacation. I don't know how they call it.
Uh huh.
Yeah. And this was a Democrat. This was a Democrat here. I don't know if I can
Oh yeah, the
highlight.
Democrats and the history of the Democratic Party. Uh,
Mhm,
you can almost say it was reversed at that particular time. The Democrat Party is not what people think it is. Like always been for minorities or been for
mhm,
all of these. No, the Democratic Party was practically damn near like the Republican Party back then.
mhm,
So actually, and then that's the intertwining that people don't understand. Some of these Republicans that people think are some of the worst of the worst and the most racist people. Their grandfathers was Democrats.
And
It
yeah,
like
there was here Calvin Coolidge, who he was a Republican, and he deported a few more than Woodrow Wilson and Herbert Hoover deported a good amount. But we come here to FDR, and he that was kind of like another spice, 171,939. He was a Democrat, and he was the president that was elected 4 times. That's why there is this number 13, because of all of the years that he was in office. He was actually elected 4 times because when in his time that was still allowed. I mean, you could be elected more than 2 times,
yeah, at that
and
time you can. And I wonder who was they deporting at that time because the Latin population was very it wasn't as large as today.
no. At that time, the migration from south of the border wasn't that much of a thing. So
Yeah.
it is. I don't know the demographics of that. I'm just looking at. We're just looking at the numbers, considering the party that they were a part of. And we got Truman, a good amount, 140 over 140,000. Eisenhower, he was a Republican, but he did much less actually in 2 terms. And Kennedy, there were okay 23, almost 24,000, but he was only there for 3 years because we all know what happened with him. Um, Lyndon B. Johnson, he was about twice as much, him being a Democrat. Nixon, a Republican, somewhat good amount, over 81,000, 82,000. Jimmy Carter, as a Democrat, it goes up all the way to over 105,000. And he was only 1 term.
Wow.
And Ronald Reagan, a Republican, he did deported a somewhat of a decent amount, 168,364 in 8 years. In 2 terms, 8 years. George Bush Sr., Herbert Walker Bush. This is senior. He was a 1 term president, and he had 141,326. Now we come to Bill Clinton. As we know, Democrat, 2 term president. The number spikes up all the way up to 869,646. I used to think that had deported much more than that. That's what I thought. But yeah, it seems that I was a bit mistaken at an average of about 108,000 per year of his administration. I mean, he spikes. He set records. Now we go to George Bush Sr. The number goes on a major spike. Him being Republican, 2 term president. Well, how he got in office is is still a little bit debatable. And yeah, over 2 million, over 2 million deported. And you would think that it was all him, but he inherited the tools that were set up by Bill Clinton in the previous administration. Because with every new administration, there are certain policies that are set in place that do remain for at least like a year for the new administration. So Bush inherited the tools that was set up by Bill Clinton, and after his 2 terms, we get Barack Obama. Barack Obama broke records. He broke records. We're talking about a little over 3 million. I didn't think it was him. I used to think that it was Bill Clinton. I thought that Bill Clinton had deported like 8 million or something like that. But I misread. And as a Democrat, had an average of 383,307 per year of his administration as a Democrat. So that whole notion, he inherited, and he may have inherited the tools same tools, the same policies that George Bush Jr. may have inherited. So it was continuing. Now, Trump, this only shows the first 2 years of Trump's uh, term, but we can assume that it could have been go all the way up to close to a million or 800,000 because of on the graphic that we have down here. It shows you the percentages at least of the previous 5 administrations, all the way back to 1990. Because you got Bush Senior, he was 1 term, and the rate of removal only reached to about a little over 1%. Then when you get to Bill Clinton, there is a spike. It goes to about just below 1%. It goes all the way up to like 2.87% at the highest, at its peak. And then after that, it kind of like winds down until we get to Bush Jr.'s terms. And then it picks up again. It picks up again, all the way go to over 3%, 3% removals. And it keeps going up. After him leaving office, it keeps going up when Barack Obama takes over. It goes all the way up to a rate of 3.86%. That's how you get over 3 million.
Right.
Over 3 million deportations.
It was going up under Bush as well, right? George Bush Jr.
Yeah. It kind of wind down for the first couple of years of his first term, but after that it started to pick up because yeah. I mean, he deported a lot too. He deported far more than his dad, and it kept going up. The rates kept going up with Barack Obama. So again, two major spikes during Democratic administrations. So that whole notion that Democrats don't deport anybody, I have said it before, and I'm showing it. They deport. They can deport, and they deport a lot. So we will see the numbers when they become available for Joe Biden, because I do think that there is gonna be major deportations. I don't think they're gonna be just letting everybody come in and uh, coming roughshod. Hey, Denise. Yeah, I was kind of like looking at the page that I had opened up, and I hadn't seen you here. What's going on, Chica? Everything all right? All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, because somebody's letting everybody come through the border.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh, there is some. There are some that are coming through the border. I'm not denying that. But the thing is that the busings. I'm against the busings. I mean, if the border states are capturing them, and they can just turn them right back because they're already close to the border.
Mm-hmm.
That petty move of putting them in buses and spending additional tax-paying money to bus them to other parts of the country, it's a petty move, and it's an expensive one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have heard the complaints, or even of Texans, because before he started the busings, there was a surplus of money in the state of Texas, but he squandered a lot of it, if not most of it, with the busings, with sending undocumented people to other parts of the country.
Yeah.
Partially creating the issue that you're having.
Yeah, I did hear them say that, and what they were saying now, everyone sees what Texas was going through, and I've been thought that, but the thing is that people really don't care until it affects them. So, but let me ask you a question, Ramon. Of course, I understand that you are Caribbean, but I
Mhm.
understand that you are part of, even though Puerto Rico is part of Latin America, both Caribbean and Latin America. So,
Yeah.
what is your take on this? And speaking to other fellow Latinos down in Texas or other in other places, what is their take on the whole migrant situation?
Well, well, the the Hispanics, Latinos, Mexican Americans that I'm around of, many of them actually are fine with limited migration and people being deported, because there are Mexican Americans and they don't see themselves the same as a national Mexican. Now, I do see them coexist just fine because I see them. I work with many of them. Um, and we don't really, because it's mostly at work that I talk to both national Mexicans and Mexican Americans, that they work side by side and they coexist. And I don't see them getting into any arguments or anything. But we don't get into politics because we're at the workplace. But I have heard outside of the workplace that Mexican Americans are perfectly fine with restrictions when it comes to immigrations and deportations. They don't see anything wrong with it because a lot of the Latinos, Mexican Americans here, they're still fairly conservative. They're still fairly conservative, and they don't want like a mass migration from south of the border, and that could feel that it can affect their way of life. You will think that them being kind of like of a similar bloodline, they will be fine with them migrating, but many of them are not. Many of them are not. Many of them voted for Trump the first time. So yeah, I don't. At least in the workplace, I don't try to get into politics like that because I
Right.
have seen what has happened. Because a couple of people that will be wearing the Trump hats, and those two people aren't working there anymore because they're getting too out there with the politics, and I don't think that it should be kept out of the workplace.
Yeah,
So
that's one thing that I was always taught growing up when it comes to dealing with people, especially in the workplace, is three things you don't want to argue about: race, politics, and religion. Those
no,
are the
definitely
three
not.
things.
I don't get into none of
So,
that. Not at the
so
workplace.
but yeah, like, and also like what I'm seeing now, like I was saying earlier, especially with the migrants getting all of this negative attention in Fox News and different places like that, is creating a negative backlash on Latinos in general because
Yeah.
Latinos is being made to be the face. And of course, anytime when it's adversity and a lot of people don't really have the power to deal with it or fight it head on, a lot of people try to separate themselves to avoid the backlash. And that's what I'm starting to see a little bit as far as people. Oh, we're not like them. We're not them.
Hmm.
Like, but because I don't know what it is with people, man. Some people really want, um,
Hmm.
some people are afraid and they want that validation. I just saw a video of one of these Trump supporters, white guy, talking
Hmm.
about we start shooting people at the border.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That there was like kind of like a caravan of people that that were talking about that they were gonna go to the border, and I actually kind of I can play a video of something of a criticism that a Texas Democrat was having about that because they were talking about that they were gonna get to the border uh, to a place called Eagle Pass, I think it was, where there were supposedly there was gonna be the whole invasion thing, and that's not what was happening. That there were, yes, there were a few people that but they were catching them right then and there, and they were turning them back. I'm gonna play a video. It's gonna take a couple of minutes, but they're talking specifically about the impression that some Texans got when they got all the way to the border, when they thought that there was the whole invasion thing, and that's not what they what they what they got. Let me see if I
And it
can.
just goes to it just goes to show you because also as a situation. over there in Georgia where they was showing, like, I guess, for migrants in Georgia deleted a young white girl, and you know
Mhm.
that from what I've heard, that got a lot of white Georgians pissed off. So, but it just goes to show you that when it comes to a narrative that's being pushed, as far as to direct hate towards somebody,
Mhm.
everyone usually on board. Like a lot of people usually is on board because
Yeah.
people are brainwashed by the media to believe whatever narrative, and certain people really want to believe that narrative anyway. So
Okay. Let me play this little clip. This is commentary when it comes to the whole the MAGA convoy. That's something. This is something that happened about a month ago. Let me play this.
The convoy got down here to Texas. Welcome to Texas, I guess. Uh, it's just, I mean, this whole thing. Follow me here, folks. This is hilarious. This convoy has been told that there's an invasion and this, that, and they came down here with their AR-15s and they were going to save the day. And then they're not even on the border. They aren't, because they all went down there and they took a look and they're like, huh, where's the invasion? No, I'm so serious. Play the video.
I've been talking to these folks who have come from all over Texas, even other parts of the country, to be here. And some of them, even though we are about a half hour from Eagle Pass, have driven down to Eagle Pass to try to actually see what's happening at the border. And I've spoken to a number of people who said that they're a little surprised by what they're seeing here. I want to play a conversation with a woman, Misty. Take a listen.
It's pretty surreal. We actually made it into Eagle Pass and we went and saw Shelby Park. I was able to see some people actually trying to cross and stopped at the wire there. So it's very eye-opening.
And tell me more about eye-opening. Is it what you expected? Is it better? Is it worse?
It's not what I expected, but then again, I don't know what I expected. I can tell you it's not as bad as what I thought. So that's kind of eye-opening in itself too. Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't come up with their talking points yet, as you see, as to why this is not they can't figure out why there's no invasion, and they don't know exactly what to think about that. So let me, before you get some talking point shoved in your ear, right wingers, let me help you with that. You were lied to. I've been telling you from the beginning, it's all a lie. There is no crisis down here. There is no invasion down here. The federal government has this under control. And Alejandro Mayorkas went down with Anthony Blinken back in December and had a meeting with the president of Mexico and their counterparts down there. They did more to solve this border crisis in one meeting than my Governor Abbott did, wasting $8 billion on this stupid show. This stupid show that convinced you, right wingers, that there was an invasion down here and you needed to come down here from Kansas and Nebraska and wherever the hell else you came down here to protect America from an invasion that you now see doesn't exist. Yeah, folks, I'm telling you, illegal crossings have fallen by more than half after Mayorkas' meeting in Mexico, because Mexico's cracking down on their side of the border. You know, the government thing, that whole do your job thing. Yeah. So all of this show, all of this theater has been for nothing. All of this money's been wasted for nothing, just to try to get attention. And because there was attention garnered, the freaks came out of the woodwork, man. You got the Westboro Baptist Church style preachers screaming at the convoy preachers, and the convoy preachers trying to drown them. Here, watch this video.
If you justify the wicked courage, make your way on inside. Let's make our way on inside. Let's not going to be a part of that. That is not who we are. We don't hate people because they're gay. We don't hate people because of how they dress. We're not here for hating anyone. We're here to protect children in these United States from an invasion at this southern border. We're not here about whatever it is they're talking about. They're detracting from a beautiful and peaceful message. That's not who we are. Not consistent with our values. You will not let them draw your attention. That is not God's work.
Keep that up. Keep that up. Because it is.
Yeah. Some crazy shit, isn't it? That's what these people do. I mean, there's no reality to it. This is what you're following, people. Those people, you right wingers, that's what you're following. Get it through your head. And it just gets worse. I mean, it's always a grift. That's all these things are to them. It's always just a con. It's just a grift. It's these preachers. There was a couple of preachers involved in coordinating the convoy to begin with. They're these people you always see dunking folks in cattle troughs. Which, by the way, the suggested tithe for getting dunked in a cattle trough is $500 is what people are saying. They suggest $500 to get baptized in a horse trough. It's all a grift. It's all show. My governor has done nothing to help solve this problem. Nothing at all. This is an immigration issue of people from one nation trying to immigrate to another nation. They claim to love the Constitution, but they immediately say, oh, well, we're not going to follow the Constitution because in the Constitution, that is the whole purview of the federal government. This is a federal government issue, and they're handling it. As you can tell, immigration's fallen by half over the last couple of weeks. It's just disappearing. I told you it was never a crisis. It was just a matter of getting things done, doing the job, fixing a problem, which Democrats want to do, but the Republicans, like Congressman Nels has said, they don't want to do it because that'll give old Biden a win, and Biden's hemorrhaging right now because of the well. Now you look like fools. Good job, and you're never going to get that border package. Never. The Democrats do not pass that bill. Don't do it. You offered them what they wanted. They slapped you in the face and said, no, we'd rather run on this. Well, run on it, bitches. Run on it. You look like fools because you are fools. You're idiots. We Democrats are out there working, getting things done, running the government, making things happen. And these fools are always playing games, stunts. It's all Republicans have, folks. It's all they ever will have. Vote them out of office. Please help us get this message out. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button so you can get this out on the algorithm. Share this with your friends. Midas Touch busts their ass to get you good information so you can see what's really going on and you can vote and make decisions for your family with real information. Help us do that.
All right. Now I know that the commentary was being done on a channel that is more left leaning. I get it, but it's a different perspective. It's a different point of view. I mean, I've heard plenty of the of the right wing point of view when it comes to the whole invasion, but my understanding is, like he was saying, that there was a deal being worked on that was supposed to be bipartisan, and it seems like it was the GOP that didn't want to sign up on it. And it would have helped. It would have helped with the border with additional resources and manpower. And it was the GOP that backed out of it. So it wasn't signed. It wasn't signed into law.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The Republicans don't seem to be the ones that want to deport mostly.
No,
See what I'm saying?
no, because you got the Democrat side and you got the Republican side, and somewhere in the middle you'll find out the truth. And the truth is that neither one of them are interested in deport because they all have the same agenda, and that's really cheap labor. A lot of these corporations that own that a lot of these CEOs of these different corporations are Republicans as well. So it doesn't I'm not shocked
at 1
Oh,
billion.
well, yeah, but when it comes to the whole cheap labor thing, we have already talked about it. The
Yeah.
different states that benefit from migrant labor. They pay them cash. I mean, and they don't
Hmm.
have to do the whole social security thing. Um, and when they have tried to pass legislation and laws on the state level to prohibit the employment of migrants, what do they do? The migrants just leave, and and a whole a lot of people start hurting because they start losing money. The construction, um, and farming, in particular, those are the top two industries that get affected the most when on the state level they pass legislation to prohibit the people that don't have papers to work on that. Those people, well, okay, they leave because they don't want to get into trouble. I mean, the last state to do that was Florida. Okay, fine. Don't want people without papers. What did they do? They left, and the construction businesses were hurting because they didn't have hands to do the work. And when it came to farming, they didn't have people to pick up things from the fields because they can't do that with a machine. And a lot of, especially when it comes to things that have to be picked up out of the ground, that has to be done by hand. You can't do that with a machine that doesn't exist yet. Yeah. Mm.
Hey, Ramon, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
hear you.
I put a clip in the back that I wanted you to play because this is the game that both parties have played for so long, even in regarding here to my people. And it's interesting because it's always been put in movies. Everything that America does has been reflected in our in our media. It's always been reflected in our media. We've always put it in movies, different things, all the way from the coming to America, pretty much eradicating the natives here. All of that stuff has always been put in movies, and this is a scene from it's only 1 minute long, so I highly doubt that it'll be an issue or anything.
Okay. Well, anyway, fair
This is
use, fair use. Yeah.
this is the conversation between Republicans and Democrats. They're having a conversation about Black Americans.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
That's not very smart to have the people that you're talking about be the ones that are serving your food. I mean, that doesn't seem very smart to me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but I
they
get what you're saying. That's see what you're saying.
that's pretty much and that what they did with that, they apply that to every group that they deal with. Every
Hmm.
group that they deal with. And that's the way, both parties operate. They're not any different. One of them might paint more of an illusion than the other, but they're not much different.
Hmm. Hmm. No, I get it. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and even with what we've seen now, even on the Democratic side with the whole alphabet thing, we saw that ramped up just within the past 10 years to the point that
Hmm.
it was put in cartoons, it's put in the educational system. It's like to the point that you got people trying to bully you into using pronouns and all types of stuff.
Well,
So
that has to be pushed back against. That has to be
yeah,
pushed back against, and the whole thing about uh, the whole gender perspective shit. They want to talk about. There was one political candidate that was talking about that. She tried to make that part of her platform, and that's the same thing that the president, the Salvador president, Nayib Bukele, he just prohibited that. He passed a law prohibiting that whole gender perspective stuff because he doesn't want to he doesn't want to deal with confusing pronouns or neutral pronouns because in Spanish they're trying to do that in Spanish
mm,
to 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 use neutral pronouns. Spanish has always been a gendered language, and
right,
they're trying to make changes to that. And no, that's not gonna work over here.
right,
That's not. I don't think in Latin America that's not gonna work. Maybe they'll try it in Puerto Rico. Maybe they'll try it. And there was a a political candidate that was talking about that as part of her platform, but that didn't really go anywhere.
and
They're quiet there because it's more vulnerable when it comes to that influence. But the other countries, I don't think they're gonna be doing that anytime soon.
right.
Hopefully, they follow the example of Nayib Bukele, who prohibited it, and hopefully Puerto Rico they kind of like look at it and take example from that.
And
Yeah.
even like to what Irby was saying when he said, facts, Denise, they don't complain about it. They just happy to be here. That only lasts for a generation, Irby, because people that come here that are migrating from a terrible situation, just being here, they feel like that's an improvement. But by the time, that second or third generation get assimilated into American culture and American way of living, very rarely do you see people being able to revert back to something
Hmm.
like you're not going to see a third generation Hispanic American here that's going to be able to live in a whole household full of 7, 8 people due
Hmm.
to the fact that those people are desperate and they're
Yeah.
in a very bad situation and they're in a foreign land where they're not where they don't know the customs and the way things are here. They're sticking together because they come from um the same culture and they come from the same. It's like if me and you was stuck in El Salvador somewhere. We're going to
Hmm.
be like you, me, and a few other people. We're going to be sticking together, and if we have to live in El Salvador, we're going to be sticking together because we share the same culture. We're both learning at the same pace the Salvadorian culture and their way of life there, and we're going to stick together because us sticking together is still like kind of like a piece of home because we're all from the same place. Versus you know, we have children there. That's, now that they're naturalized Salvadorians, they have children now they're naturalized Salvadorians. They're completely assimilated into the Salvadorian
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. Oh man. Yeah. And the thing then is with the whole thing. You know that people like you and me, we can't do that. We can't do that. Being uh, having to share a living space with a whole bunch of people. I like to live alone. I like my space. I like my privacy. We're too much of a snobs in comparison. I don't know if it is a Caribbean thing or maybe it's just us, but we don't. Nah. I would rather be in a tiny little studio place by myself than sharing a bigger house with a bunch of people. Can't do it. Yeah. I think Central American prioritizes parties over housing. Okay. Puerto Ricans can't live like that. We get hit. Somebody will get killed. No, definitely, we can't do it. We can't do it. Dominicans also live like that, and don't get me started with Cubans. Well, I don't. I'm not around Cubans here where I'm at, and I know that there are kind of like Central Americans that kind of like a group people and they rent an apartment. I have seen Asians, Southeast Asians, doing the same thing because I've had neighbors that do that too. So, but yeah, yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. I mean, I don't like to have. I've never had a roommate. Roommate means only one person that I'm living with only one person, and I can't do it. Found that Ecuadorians are more similar with us when it comes to living like that. Sí, medio come mierda ellos. Yeah, not my house. You can't even pop up at my house or my mom's house. Yeah, and some Colombians. Yeah, I've seen Colombians that. But yeah, I remember meeting a group of Colombian kids when I was in Mississippi, but they were there on a visa, so they were kind of sharing the same place. And there were a few of them in the same apartment. Um, yeah, but they were on a visa. They were on a work visa there. They're working for one of the hotels. Yeah. So basically, I don't know what happened with Rakim. He got kicked out. I didn't kick you out, Rakim, if you're listening. But still, it's already midnight, so I do have to get up in a few hours. So I'm gonna be ending the stream. I got 9 people watching. That's cool. That's cool. I appreciate the attendance. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure that you leave a like. It helps me. Appreciate Jose because he put this stream on his wall and he shared it. I appreciate that. But everybody, if you can, whatever, if you can do a like and subscribe, it is greatly appreciated. I'm gonna bring up back Rakim. What's up?
Yeah. Sorry about that, Ramon. My phone died on me, but yeah. So what I was saying, that's a tactic of survival, and that's a
Mhm.
tactic of migration. You know, when anybody going to a different land, that's something that is more easier said than done. But once you become accustomed to a certain way of living, that is very difficult for people to do. And it's like I say, it's not done just based off of a community thing. It's done based off of survival. So, but yeah,
Okay, you're getting distorted. You're getting distorted. I don't know what's happening with your phone. You're getting distorted. I can't.
okay, give me one
It's like a
second.
bunch of distortion in what I'm hearing. Mhm. Now I don't. Now you're muted. So maybe you want to try again. Oh, definitely having a group of people, having a group of us in one in one place. You only need when it comes to us bodies, you only need about 3 of us. We start making a bunch of noise just with 3 of us. We start making hella noise. You're still muted, Rakim.
Can you hear me now?
You are very low. You're very low.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Mhm. You there? I hear kind of like a scratching. Can't hear you.
All right, give me 1 second.
No, I can hear you fine now.
Oh, you can hear me all right?
Okay. You're getting distorted again. You're getting distorted. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you may be having a technical difficulty. If you can.
All right, okay. All right, I'm doing better now. I'm messing up the stream, man. My bad.
Okay. Yeah. Because it's yeah. There is still a little bit of distortion. But if you would like to give final remarks, because I have to wrap up. I have to go.
Yeah. Can you hear me all right now? Am I
But
okay?
yeah, don't talk too loud. Don't talk too loud. But I can hear you. There is still distortion, so maybe that's something that you wanna address later. But yeah, if you have a final remarks, real quick.
Yeah. Hold on. How about now?
This is still
Oh,
still
still
not.
bad. Okay. I'm gonna just say this. Matter of fact, um, damn, I was gonna say, can I leave and just try to come back in and see if that helped. But yeah, yeah. So it's been a lot of nuances to unpack when we talking about the situation. And the only thing I can say too is that for people that don't think America is a bigoted country, well, you saw what happened just with all of those people. All they got to do is paint this narrative that it's colored people invading, and you saw all of these people out of the Midwest and parts of the South trying to, go towards the border, and God knows they was packing you know what. So, um, you already know that they came equipped down there because that's the mentality of America, especially gun-loving Americans. So that's pretty much it. I mean, we saw, the narrative that's trying to be painted here, and how easily people want to fall for it because now I'm just under the impression with most people that people are willing to accept whatever that's going on, long as it ain't happening to them. And people really want to fall for this narrative that the American government, really the type of narrative that it puts out there is what they really believe, and that's not true at all. So
Okay.
that's all I got to say.
All right. All right. Well, Rakim, I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on up on the stream. You're still somewhat distorted, but I heard what you were saying. It's all very good, all very valid, and definitely I appreciate you coming onto the stream. I also appreciate Don Jose, who came up on the panel earlier, but apparently I was doing this too late for him. Yeah, because it's like 1 a.m. right now where he's at, so he also has to get up early. So definitely, people's in the chat. Of course, Jose, Daniel, um, Titi, Titi Yuyu, definitely Denise. You don't come by so much on my streams, but I'm glad to see you here. Uh, Hope everything is good. Appreciate you, Irby, for coming by. Have a good night to everybody that was commenting making comments in the chat. Also, Blood Moon, you were getting a little salty. No, not salty. You were getting a little spicy with me, but that's all right. That's all right. I could never hate you. So I'm looking forward to the next one, having you guys, and have to think up of another subject. So you can make suggestions on the comments. So until the next time, I appreciate you coming by. Thanks. Have a good one. Have a good night, and peace.